frustrated and disappointed we didn't get the 3 points today. I've watched Chelsea this season, and Chelsea have been really good this season. And today, Chelsea were not great. I think we actually could have got 3 points today when you look at the fact that we had 4 big chances to the 1, a much higher XG. But yet again, it's United not having the quality in attack, not being clinical, again, overperforming our XG more than any other team in the Premier League. And while Caicedo bossed the midfield, and I think Chelsea were a little bit more dominant at times, I think the better chances fell to United, the better opportunities to win the game fell to United, and we were more wasteful in that moment. You know, Mazraoui and Jackson had very off games for them. We dealt with them well. Mazraoui was fantastic, and I think 3 points is frustrating because we're 13th in the league, and that's not good enough, but there's a lot of quality lacking at United. That game was poor. That game was a really poor game, and there was a real lack of quality from a United perspective, just sort of looking at the game, if I'm going to be totally honest. And I do worry a bit because I think, you know, if we're missing chances like that, you know, there's a lot of work for Amrin to do. I do think there's little tweaks Amrin can make, like play Rashford closer to goal. I think him and Hojlund, if we can get them closer to goal and get them service, they're a lot more clinical than the likes of Garnacho. But look, I think at the end of the day, I think Ruud van Nistelrooy, he'll take the point. I think Chelsea have been really good this season. It's just that we're still in 13th, which is not good enough in the league. There is a severe lack in quality. But I think that, you know, had Ten Hag been here, he might have lost that game. You've got to look at it in many ways. I think we've improved a bit defensively in the second half, shut down shop. Silly goal to concede, but it was a fantastic goal from Caicedo, so I can't complain too much. But I think Mazraoui was 100% man of the match today. He was absolutely fantastic, technically sound, was really dealing with Madueke well. Madueke couldn't complete a dribble, and Madueke is one of the best dribblers in the league, but he could not complete a dribble today. I thought Bruno and Casemiro were right. I've seen a lot of criticism of them online. I actually think that Bruno was trying to make things happen, and he lacked the quality around him. I don't think Bruno had a bad game. I don't think Casemiro had a particularly bad game in the end. I think there was times where Caicedo definitely bossed the midfield and Chelsea would definitely control the midfield. But I thought, you know, Casemiro, you know, put that brilliant ball in to win the penalty. One back chances. I thought Hojlund put in the shift. The referee gave Hojlund absolutely zero support. He was really working hard to win the ball, keep the ball, but I think the final ball lacked. The final third quality just lacked in general. Garnacho was poor today. I think he's becoming the invincible winger. He gets to play on the left. He gets to play every minute of every game. And I'm not quite sure why, because I think that there's a good player in Garnacho, but he's only 20 and he's now becoming undroppable. And I think that he was quite good in our last game, but today I don't think he had the best game. Now, I like Garnacho. I think there's a good player in Garnacho, and I think people need to understand his age, the context. He's going to have bad games. He's going to have wasteful games. His decision-making is poor. But I think he will improve. I think there's a very good player in Garnacho. People are going over the top and hating Garnacho. I'd like to see Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right, Garnacho and Ahmed rotate between the right. If I was going to be honest, I don't like that Garnacho's now been given the left side and been invincible, because I do think he's wasteful. But I also believe that Garnacho will be a top player. I do really like Garnacho. I rate him. I think people forget that he's just a kid, and that Ronaldo was very similar to this at age 20, where they will be a bit selfish, they will be a bit wasteful. You know, the decision-making might not be the best, but that's what Amrin will come in to do and improve. And I generally think Garnacho could be an absolute superstar, but we need to start managing his minutes. I think it's better for him. He looked his best at the start of the season when he was fresh. He was having his minutes managed, sometimes off the bench, sometimes starting. If we're giving him 90 minutes every game, whether he's good or bad, I don't think that does him any favours. I think in general, the attack lack from both teams, I think Chelsea's attack underperformed, and that's why I thought the game was winnable today. I've watched Chelsea this season. They've looked really good this season, but I thought that Chelsea did not show up today, and that's why I think that game was winnable. I think our attack lacked, our final third lacked. I think maybe Eriksen could have been nice today if he wasn't injured, and I could see Amrin has a lot of work to do to transform the side. I think Eriksen and Kobbie Mainoo were a big miss today, as I said. I think Rashford should have stayed left wing. We started with Rashford on the left, and I felt that he was looking a little bit more dangerous, and then Rashford on the right, it doesn't work, and Garnacho's having a bad game on the right, so we moved Garnacho to the left to, you know, and I don't think we should be moving Rashford to accommodate Garnacho. You know, I don't think Rashford's been amazing this season. I think over the last year, Garnacho's probably been better than Rashford, but I don't like this whole, you know, we'll move Rashford to accommodate other players. You know, if Garnacho's having a meh game, there's no point. I think we lacked the intensity off the ball, the pressing at time, but I did think we improved in the second half. I think Chelsea probably had the better of us for a lot of the first half, bar the first 10 minutes, but I thought we were the better team in the second half. And then all I see is people slating Zirkzee, giving Zirkzee stick. Zirkzee was on the pitch for 10 minutes. He almost scored if it wasn't for a fantastic Caicedo block. I think people are being very overreactionary about Zirkzee. I don't think it's fair to judge him off a 10-minute cameo. He could have maybe scored on another day. I know that he's slow. I know he's not the nicest on the eye, but I think it's an overreaction. It said, this is here. With just 12 points, Manchester United's worst return after 10 games in the Premier League campaign since 1986-87, when we had 8. We are 13th. We've got 12 points. More, it's not good. It's not good at all, and we do really need to improve. And I am a little bit worried. There's a lot of work for Amarin to do. He needs to be given time. We do lack quality in the players. Of course, I think Ten Hag needed to be sacked, and I think more of it was on Ten Hag than the players, but there is a lack of quality that needs to be fixed. But I know I can't sit here and just completely blame the ref, because at the end of the day, we missed our chances, and I'm not blaming the ref for the reason we lost. But for me, the ref was awful today. You can say what you want, but the ref was absolutely awful today. I think it was like one of the last minutes of the game. It should have been a free kick to us, and he gave a free kick to Chelsea when I think it was Mazraoui that was fouled. He was giving United yellow cards left, right and centre, and didn't want to book anyone at Chelsea. Colwill could have got a booking very early on, and he just didn't do anything. I thought the ref was atrocious. I think the standard of refereeing in the Premier League is atrocious. Continue on, Mazraoui's game numbers versus Chelsea. Mazraoui was standout man of the match. I think Caicedo was man of the match. Mazraoui was the second best player after Caicedo. I thought he was fantastic. 92% pass accuracy, 8 tackles attempted, 6-1. So 6 out of 8 tackles attempted, 6 passes into the final third, 5 out of 5 take-ons, 2 out of 2. So I think he got 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 2 fouls, 1. But 5 out of 5 take-ons, 6 out of 8 tackles, 6 passes into the final third, was winning his duels, was intercepting the ball. Mazraoui was fantastic. And Mazraoui really dealt with Madueke well. He couldn't get past him, as you can see. But also going forward, Mazraoui was keeping the ball well. His technical ability to dribble, make those quick 1-2s, pass the ball. He didn't lose the ball. He could play out from the press so well. He could break the line so well. He's so technically good and so technically gifted. And I was really, really impressed with Mazraoui today. And I saw this tweet here from Alex I'd like to share. If he's not the signing of the summer, Mazraoui's questionably in the conversation. 17 million for a fullback who summary can play on left back, right back, and even in midfield if needed. Lightning quick, tidy in possession, and tenacious in the tackle. And Bayern Munich fans said lots of positive things when they lost Mazraoui, saying the only downside about him was his injury record, that he was always a fantastic player. And I think going forward, I think defensively, he's been fantastic, Mazraoui. I think he's probably been our best outfield player this season. I think Anana's probably been our best player this season. I don't think he's really had a bad game for United, so really good performance from Mazraoui. Did a really good job on the left. I actually thought Hojlund was okay today. I saw him getting a bit of stick, but I think he just got no help and no support whatsoever. It made his job difficult. Pythagoras said that Hojlund had an interesting game. He won a penalty and was in the thick of action with the referee giving him zero protection. Having said that, he did manage to turn the ball on the ball and eat into space, but the final ball from him never came, which was frustrating, and I agree. But I thought that Hojlund was influential today, but I don't think he got really enough support, service and runners around them. I think with the right coaching system and better players around him, I think Hojlund can be a top player. He was top scorer at the Euro qualifiers. There's a good player in Hojlund. We've seen it before. Bruno's getting a lot of stick online, a lot of pelts online. I think people just go to blame Bruno and Rashford whenever we lose or drop points. But we were 1-0 up when Rashford came off, and then was 1-1. So I think people realise they can't blame Rashford. They like to blame Bruno and Rashford. But I actually thought that Bruno was okay today. He had a direct hand in 8 of United's 11 shots, creating 4 chances. And he was involved in 4 out of 4 of the chances as well. I think he skied that one chance. He could have done a bit better. He looks a bit rusty in front of goal, ruthless. He's clearly lacking the confidence in front of goal, and his finishing's not been good enough. But I felt that if someone was going to do something to make something happen, I think that would have been Bruno. I thought he put in a shift. I actually thought Bruno was all right today. And I thought Casemiro was all right today, despite people saying otherwise. Bruno's game numbers here: 7 passes into the final third, 7 tackles attempted, 5 ball recoveries, 4 tackles won, 4 chances created, 2 big chances created, 2 big chances created, made multiple tackles, scored his penalty. I don't think Bruno had a bad game, despite the narrative saying he is. Now, I like Garnacho, I really do. I think it's a top player in Garnacho, but I think he did have a bad game. I think he was wasteful. You look at this opportunity here, he's got Ahmad, he's got a Zirkzee, I believe, there. He could lay that in front for Ahmad to run onto, and he doesn't. He was a little bit selfish. But that will be worked on, that will be coached out of him, I'm sure of it. And then with Zirkzee again, people are coming at Zirkzee, making up he's on 200k a week, la. But as Adam said here, Zirkzee's on 105k a week. He was the Serie A Young Player of the Season last year. The knives are always going to come out when you're struggling like this, but he deserves patience while he adjusts to the league. And I think for me, it's too early to judge Zirkzee. I thought the Palace game, when he came off, we got worse, and he was so key in that. I think we've had 2 or 3 games this season where we've looked a better team when Zirkzee came on. I think it's just getting the dynamics of the team right and actually playing Zirkzee this best role, which we haven't done. I think it's too early to judge Zirkzee. He might not be good enough, but he's only been here a couple of months. Let's get behind him and support him instead of trying to tear down his confidence. And I also agree with this from Frank. He said Amarin needs to make sure that the system allows Hojlund and Rashford to have predominantly main chances at goal. They're somewhat prolific attackers we have. They're the only somewhat prolific attackers we have, and I agree. And I think Amarin will, because he likes to play his front line close to goal. And then I thought this was quite well picked out by United faithful, saying that Casemiro ripped into Garnacho for losing the ball and not tracking it back. And if had Rashford done that, the internet would have gone mental. Also notice how Garnacho's body language in the first half when he didn't receive a pass he was expecting, throwing his hands up and complaining. He needs to cut that out and focus on football. Good player, but terrible game today, and I agree. I like Garnacho, he's a good player, but he had an off game today. He needs to focus a bit more. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button. Of course, subscribe if you're new. Bye.